Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar led by Kent County Council's Greener Kent Schools and in association with Medway Council. It's great to have you all here, whether you're live this afternoon or watching back on a recording. So my name is Suzie Hammond. I'm the Engagement and Behaviour Change Officer for the Environment and Circular Economy Division in Kent County Council, and I am leading the Greener Kent Schools programme. So please introduce yourselves on the chat, provide your name and school or organisation so that we can see who's here today. Just a little bit of housekeeping. So the webinar is being recorded and all of the slides and links will be sent through afterwards. Cameras and microphones have been switched off for everyone except the presenters. Please add any questions into the Q&A and we can cover those after with all of the speakers. We have quite a full agenda, so we'll hopefully have enough time to answer them all. For those of you who don't know, the Greener Kent Schools programme is support to help schools connect with the Department for Education, Sustainability and Climate Change Strategy, and is open for all schools in Kent to get involved in. The aim being to create an engaging and thriving community of the school sustainability leads working collaboratively to take climate and nature action within their school, communities and beyond. So for this afternoon's webinar, I'll begin by introducing a little bit about the Nature Park and just show the list of eligible schools for Kent and Medway. We'll then be joined by Laura Wirtz, the Grant Manager, and Anna Minot, the Senior Programme Officer for the South East, who are both from the National Education Nature Park team, and they will explain more about the grants and best practice for your grant application. I'll then share about how your school can be supported with your grant project, and we'll be joined by Jodie Miller, who's the Child Health Officer from the Public Health team at Medway Council, and she will share about how the team at Medway can support your projects too. So just a little bit about the Nature Park. Laura will share more about this in detail in her presentation. So it is a Department for Education run programme and is a key part of their sustainability and climate change strategy. The aims to embed nature-based learning into the curriculum and encourage children and young people to take action to improve their sites for people and wildlife. And they have grants available for selected eligible schools. So this is in tiny writing, I'm afraid, but there were 26 schools that were originally eligible for the non-competitive grants during the previous academic year, and 10 of those have already received the grants of up to £10,000. The 16 schools on the left of the screen are those that didn't apply last year and have been offered support by myself and the grant team already. And then the list on the right is the 13 additional schools within the Kent County Council area that were announced on the 1st of November. On the next slide are the 11 Medway area schools that were announced on the 1st of November as well. So I'm just going to hand over to Laura. So she's going to share her slides and she'll be able to explain all about the Nature Park and the grant scheme for you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, some of you may well have had emails from me. We've been contacting as best we could the eligible schools for some time. We often have out-of-date email addresses, emails get caught in filters and that sort of thing. We have also sent out postal mail outs. So there's a few different ways you might have heard from us previously, and you may well have heard of the National Education Nature Park through other means. So you've been told which schools in your area are eligible. This is a national program for the whole of England. If any other teachers at other settings you know are interested, the full list of eligible schools is on a DFE webpage, which will be shared in the chat, as well as the eligibility criteria to explain why it is the Department for Education chose you for a grant. So this is the second year of the grant program. Last year, we awarded grants to over 500 schools, over £5 million. And schools that were eligible last year continue to be eligible, and as I said, several additional schools were added by the department in November. So I'm Laura Wirtz. I'm based at the Royal Horticultural Society, and I'm the manager of this grant program. And later you'll hear from my colleague Anna, who is the grant officer for the Nature Park program officer for your region. So she works on the Nature Park program broadly, not just in terms of promoting grants. So we're based at RHS because the Nature Park is actually a partnership. The lead partner is the Natural History Museum. They're our science partner. If you ask me any difficult questions about eligibility of particular items, I may well have to refer to my science colleagues at NHM to ask, can we fund this? So that's kind of one of the aspects of how the partnership works. But in terms of the grant, it's RHS you'll be in connection with. So as has been mentioned, here it is, the Nature Park. All the little green dots are settings that have already signed up to the Nature Park. If the link to the Nature Park website can go in the chat, that would be great. You just register on there. There's a registration button at the top of the page. It's free. The whole program's free. There are activities for different areas of the national curriculum and different age groups on there that you can just use, adapt, and so on. And yeah, the purpose of Nature Park is to involve young people in exploring and transforming your school sites and boosting biodiversity. That's the purpose of the grant, is to boost biodiversity on your school site. Essential part of the program is using digital tools. The reason all the green dots are on there is because schools use the digital tools we provide to add their site to the map. And ultimately, the idea of the Nature Park is that altogether, all the school sites in England form one big nature park. So it's quite exciting. And the children in your school that you involve in the program will be taking part in actual scientific data collection. And over 300 settings have signed up in the first year and a bit of the program. Oops. Okay, so the goals of the Nature Park program, generally broadly, are biodiversity gain across the educational estate. We want you to map where you are with biodiversity on your site and to add to it and to track that as well. We want your children and young people to develop green skills, to exhibit pro-environmental behaviors, and to have improved well-being. And there are activities on the Nature Park site, free activities that help with all of these goals. So about the grant program specifically, it's fully funded by the DFE. As I said, they selected who was eligible to receive it. It's a non-competitive grant. All you do is fill in quite a simple grant application form, and we will give you the grant. Now, we've provided lots of resources. I guess it's a good time to go ahead and have the FAQ link put into the chat, if that's okay. I suggest that after this, you read the FAQs very thoroughly. Maybe start by going to the bottom of the page and seeing the webinar. There's a 40-minute webinar that tells you really everything you need to know. I won't go into a lot of detail today, but it tells you about what kind of items are eligible, what we want you to use the grant for, how to fill in the application form. So there's a little tour through the application form itself and so on. So really the FAQ should provide you all you need to know to be successful with the grant program. Now, you can't use the grant on absolutely anything. It's not a general green grant. It's not a grant for getting young people outdoors. It's very specifically about involving young people in increasing biodiversity on your school site. Now, the details of this, again, they're all set out in the FAQ and the longer webinar. So I don't expect you to get your head around it just now, but I do have a little example budget here. There are different categories of grant items that you can use the grant for. So there's biodiversity interventions, buying plants, putting ponds in your school site, and you can spend the entire grant on that if you want, and that's up to £10,000. If you want to buy fieldwork equipment, tablets for using the digital tools, there's a limit of £2,000 for that. if you need to buy some gardening equipment, wet weather gear to get young children, to get young people involved in your program, you can spend up to £2,000 of the grant on that. And if you want to bring in some outside expertise, so an ecologist to look at your site, or a contractor to remove concrete so that you can plant some trees, you can do that with the grant, but only up to 50% of the grant. Okay, so the applications are open now. You can apply now. You will need to apply by the 27th of March at the absolute latest, and we do suggest you have a look at the application as soon as possible so that you understand what all the requirements are, what information we need from you, so you don't apply at the last minute. The later you apply, the later we'll pay you, and you do have to have spent the entirety of the grant by the 5th of June. And there'll then be reporting that's required by the Department for Education, and the deadline for getting that expenditure report back to us is the 3rd of July. Okay, so a bit more about eligible expenditure. I won't really go into this now, actually. It's all in the FAQs, and everything's set out. We also have a page I'll put in the chat, or maybe if you got it to hand, Anna, if you could put it in the chat. There's a page that sets out dozens of items and says whether or not they're eligible, and schools have found that a useful tool. So, but any questions you have, if they're not answered by the resources we provided, just drop us an email and ask, is this eligible for the grant? Something that will surprise people about our criteria is that your grant project needs to be either grey to green, or to install a pond, or to enhance a grassland to add wildflowers. Unless it's pond or grassland, your project has to transform a grey space to a green space. So, for example, you can't use the grant to plant trees in a grassy area, or to plant anything in an area that's already green. Even if it's all weeds or brambles, we consider that a green space, and I'm afraid the grant can't be used in those spaces. But as I say, you can use the grant to remove concrete for planting. You can use the grant to put planters on top of concrete. Lots of our schools last year did exactly that. They got in some nice massive planters at sort of waist height for the children to put plants in, and that's worked really well for a lot of our schools. There's more guidance on the grey to green concept in the FAQs. Okay, so your action from today, if you want to apply, is to email us at natureparkgrants@rhs.org.uk, and we will then send you the link to the application form. It's, as I say, it's a simple form on a special portal that we've set up for you. The feedback from schools is that it doesn't take them long to fill it in, and it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, don't be intimidated by it. As I say, it's a non-competitive grant. You just need to fill the application form in correctly. So yeah, your next steps are to agree in your school who is going to apply, who's filling in the application form. They contact us, we'll send them the link, they can register on the portal and so on. You can have more than one person in your school register on the portal as well. That's absolutely fine. Okay, are we doing Q&A now or a general one at the end?
I think we'll do a general one at the end, if that's okay, Laura.
No problem at all.
But if anyone wants to add any Q&As for Laura, if you add them into the Q&A box now, then we'll be able to get those ready for her. Thank you very much, Laura. I'm just going to pop my slides back up on the screen, and I just need to flick through to...
Oh, I forgot to introduce Anna. I'm sorry. Anna, do you want to pop on
bring
for a
Anna
second
in?
and say hi?
Yeah, definitely.
Hi, yeah, thank you for introducing me. Yeah, I'm Anna. I am the South East Senior Programme Officer for the National Park Programme. I just started last week, so I'm just getting the hang of everything, but I'm really here to support all of you in anything nature park, so not just the grants, but the wider programme as a whole. So yeah, please do feel free to contact me. I've got my personal, well, my work personal email address on slides, and we also have a Southeast email address, because we will actually have another officer joining us, Kerry. She's based in Woking. I'm based in Folkestone, so I'll be more the Kent person, but you might also hear from Kerry. So I'll pop that in the chat. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you all and supporting you and seeing all the fantastic things that the grant will cause. So yeah, that's me really.
That's great. Lovely to meet you, Anna. Thank you for joining us. So I just wanted to show you a couple of things where I've been working with schools on these grants over the last year and supporting Laura's team with making sure that schools across Kent were accessing these grants. So one of the first things that you'll need to do when you join the nature park is map your school ground. So this is done via GIS mapping, and you can just see on the screen here. This is an example where there's two primary schools that are right next to each other in Sheerness that are both grant schools, and they have mapped out their school ground boundary. And then you can see, so this school is in Medway, Brompton Westbrook Primary School, and they've done an absolutely fantastic job of then from mapping their boundary then to map their habitats. I believe the habitats don't have to be mapped in order to progress with your grant scheme, but it is part of the National Education Nature Park process. Can everyone see the slides okay? So there was just one thing in the chat there saying they can't see the screen.
Yeah, I can see it, Suzie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll carry on. So there is lots of support available. So one of the key teams that have worked with the grants eligible schools last year were the Countryside Partnership team. So the Kent Countryside Partnerships are split into different areas across Kent and Medway. So it covers all of the schools that are here on the webinar today, and they will come along to your school and they will do a site visit. They understand the grant criteria and they'll listen to your school needs, and then they will come up with a project proposal for you. They then run volunteer days with their own volunteers to implement the projects, and they've done some really great projects last year. Obviously schools can also find other contractors. They can also look at like working out exactly what they want themselves and just adding that into the grants application as well. But this is an offer of support if you would like help. So this is Lawn Primary School, who have recently received their grant. I know this is small, but when I send the slides over afterwards, you'll be able to see some more of this. But this was the project proposal that was put forward from the North West Kent Countryside Partnership team. So they looked at the different areas of the walls in the playground, enhancing a grassland area, adding flowers to some planters that were there, and then enhancing a pond area, and then have used some of the fieldwork equipment as well, so adding wildlife camera and bird box. Then going on to St John's Primary in Canterbury. So they had several elements to theirs as well. So they had a barrel pond, a pergola with climbing wall plants on it. They made some green walls with pocketed planters, and had some potted trees, a shed with a green roof as well. And then the last one, so this is pictures of the actual project. So this is St Anthony's in Margate. So this was where there was a grey space that was unused, you can see in the top right, and that was cleared as part of the project, and then these really huge lovely planters were put in place. They are all now planted out now, but yeah, obviously you can see the transformation of that area. So I'm just going to show you the Greener Kent Schools programme quickly, and then I'll pass over to Jodie from Medway Council, who's just going to share about how they can support you, and then we'll go to Q&As. So this is the Greener Kent Schools programme. So this term we're talking about energy, and we'll be going on to travel next term, nature, and a celebration in the summer term. So there's an overwhelming amount of resources out there for schools on climate and nature action. I'm here to help navigate those schools and find the right support for them. So schools can join in at any time along the way, and just contact me for more details. A couple of the projects that I run alongside this. So there's a project called We Are the Future, which is launching in March 2025. This is funded by Material Focus, and that's where waste electrical and electronic equipment project will last 4 weeks in a school, and there'll be 5 schools in each cluster area taking part at the same time. And there's a fully funded STEM team repair activity for a whole year group that will take place within the school, along with waste electrical recycling and repair bins, and competitions to win prizes for the most electricals repaired and recycled. So my colleague Jo has just put the expression of interest form in the chat, and we'll be starting in Maidstone after February half term. I also have got a school governor training session that's available via the education people. That's next week from 6 to 8 p.m. and that's available via the Governor Hub. And then finally, for schools in the Tunbridge and Morling area, we have a fully funded carbon literacy training day, which will be led by Let's Go Zero for sustainability leads and other interested staff, so they can get up to speed with the latest climate science, developing confidence in talking to colleagues and students about climate change and its impacts, and obviously getting the carbon literacy certification. And that's on Thursday, the 27th of February at the Green Skills Factory at Mid Kent College. And that is fully funded by the UK Government Shared Prosperity Fund and run by Tunbridge and Morling Borough Council. My colleague Jo has also put the details in the chat for that one. So I'm just going to hand over to Jodie, who will share about Medway Council and how they can support you.
Thanks very much, Susie. So a bit of a whistle stop from me, but I'm here representing several colleagues because within public health, we've kind of got that overarching corporately, we've got 11 high kind of level priorities to reduce carbon emissions and be better at being climate friendly. So I manage the Better Medway Schools Award, which has a whole pledge dedicated to reducing carbon emissions and being climate change friendly. So this project would absolutely sit beautifully within that. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. If you're interested to be part of that, there's no cost. It's subsidised by Medway Public Health because it reaches the overall public health outcomes that we are all striving towards and working for. But we understand that schools are in a unique position for reducing emissions, not only for that as it's businesses and academies, etc. You've got that educational input. So we have various resources that you can deliver within your PSHE lessons. You mentioned about those anxieties around climate change, etc. We've had various people at our Child Health Conference speaking about that. So our PSHE leads, Sophie Wilden, will be more than happy to connect with those networks. My colleague that couldn't come today, Stevie, she's our Behaviour Change Recycling Officer. She has various offers too to schools, can run assemblies. She also has different pots of funding to access other awards around specifically climate change. And then we have Vicky Broom, who is within public health too, that is leading on a new project that would be able to support you with this one too. So we're very much collaborative. We dovetail projects. We all connect. We also commission the Soil Association that would be keen to support you with bringing this to fruition too. So if in doubt, I'll give Susie all of the leads and contacts for the different bits and pieces. Just give us a shout. We're open to connect with you on one-to-one should you wish to know more about our programme offers as well as support for this particular grant funding. But it looks magnificent, some fantastic case studies, especially for a Medway setting. So we've got some amazing work going on already. So yeah, anything we can help with, please don't hesitate to contact us.
That's great. Thank you, Jodie. So just on to any Q&As. I did have a quick look and I couldn't see anything in there at all. So if anyone does have any questions that they come up with after the webinar, please feel free to either contact myself or Laura or Anna at the Grants and Nature Park team, or I'm sure Jodie would be happy to answer any questions related to the Better Medway Schools programme as well. So if I just go on to the final slide. So then just a thank you to everyone for joining along today, and thank you to our presenters, and also my colleague facilitator Joe has been helping in the background to make sure it's all been smooth running and that you've been shared all the links. I will go back into the webinar attendees and I'll share the recording, the slides and the links with everyone. But please feel free to email me or connect with me, and I can support you with the Nature Park grants or any other aspect of the Greener Kent Schools programme. And obviously you've got the details for the Nature Parks team and from Jodie at Medway as well. So thank you very much for joining.